Hello students, today's video lecture is on respiratory system in which we will discuss about the anatomy and physiology of respiratory system. Basically the respiratory system is a biological system consisting of specific organs and structures used for gas exchange in human. The organs which are involved in respiratory system are nose and nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and the lungs. Uh, the position and structure of nose and nasal cavity is it is a main route of air entry, and two cavities divided by a septum entirely consists hyaline cartilage. The roof is formed by ethmoid bone, and the floor is formed by the roof of the mouth. The medial wall formed by the septum, and the lateral wall formed by the maxilla. The respiratory functions of the nose are: the first of the respiratory passage, warming, due to immense vascularity of the mucosa. Second is filtering and cleaning. Occurs due to hairs which trap larger particles. And the third function is humidification. As air travels over the moist mucosa, it becomes saturated with water vapors. Now, the pharynx is a part of the throat that is behind the mouth and nasal cavity and about the esophagus and the larynx. The position of the pharynx is superiorly base of the skull, inferiorly is continuous with the esophagus, and anteriorly incomplete wall because of nose, mouth, and larynx opening, and posteriorly alveolar tissue and first six vertebrae. The functions of the pharynx is passage away for food and air, um, taste, in which there are olfactory nerve endings. Second function is in hearing, the auditory tube extending from the nasopharynx to each middle ear. The third function is protection. The lymphatic tissue of the pharyngeal tonsils produces antibodies. The fourth function is in speech, act as a resonating chamber for sound ascending from the larynx. The structure, for the descriptive purpose, the pharynx is divided into three parts: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and the laryngopharynx. The nasopharynx is the nasal part of the pharynx, lies behind the nose. The oropharynx is the oral part of the pharynx, lies behind the mouth. And the laryngopharynx is the laryngeal part of the pharynx, extend from the oropharynx. The pharynx is composed of basically three layers, which is mucous membrane lining, fibrous tissue, and the smooth muscles. This is the larynx. The larynx is a voice box extend from the root of the tongue. It lies in front of the laryngopharynx at the level of third, fourth, fifth, and sixth cervical vertebra. Until the puberty, there is little differences in the size of the larynx between the sexes. It grows larger in the male. If we talk about the function of larynx, larynx is uh, play a role in production of sound, in speech, in the production of lower respiratory tract. During swelling, the larynx moves upward and hinge epiglottis closes over the larynx. Passage away for air, humidifying, filtering, and in warming. The larynx is composed of several irregular shaped cartilages attached to each other by ligaments and membranes. The main cartilage are thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, arytenoid cartilage, and epiglottis. The thyroid cartilage is the most prominent and consists of two flat pieces of hyaline cartilage and fused anteriorly, forming the Adam's apple. The second one is a cricoid cartilage. This lies below the thyroid cartilage and composed of hyaline cartilage. Next is a arytenoid cartilage. These are the two roughly pyramid-shaped hyaline cartilages situated on top of the broad part of the cricoid cartilage. And the last is epiglottis. This is a leaf-shaped fibroelastic cartilage attached to the inner surface of the anterior wall of the thyroid cartilage. Now the trachea. The trachea or windpipe is a continuation of the larynx and extends downward to about the level of T5, where it divides into right and left primary bronchi. Um, if we talk about the structure, it composed of three layers of tissue, that is fibrous and elastic tissue, a smooth muscle, ciliated columnar epithelium, and held open by between 16 till 20 incomplete cartilage rings, C-shaped. Functions are so many like support and patency, cough reflex, warming, humidifying, filtering, warming. Now, bronchi. The two primary bronchi when the trachea divides about the level of T5. The right bronchus, this is a wider, shorter, and more ventricle than the left bronchus. And the left bronchus, this is a narrower than the right. After entering the left lung, it divides into two branches, one to each lobe. The structure is the bronchi are composed of the same issue as the trachea and are lined with ciliated columnar epithelium. Ciliated columnar epithelium mucous membrane change gradually to non-ciliated cuboidal shaped cells in the distal bronchioles. The function of the bronchi is in control of air entry, warming, humidifying, and in cough reflex. Bronchioles. Each lobule is supplied with air by a terminal bronchiole, which further subdivided into respiratory bronchioles, alveolar duct, and large number of alveoli, about 150 million alveoli in the adult lungs. In these structures, the process of gas exchange occur as airways progressively divide and become smaller and smaller. Their walls gradually become thinner. These distal respiratory passages are supported by a loose network of elastic connective tissue. Exchange of gases in lungs take place in alveoli. The function of bronchioles are in external respiration. This is exchange of gases by diffusion between the alveoli and the blood. Second function is in defense against microbe, like protective cells present within the lungs tissue include lymphocytes and plasma cells which produce antibodies and in exchange of gases. This is the picture of normal bronchiole and alveoli, and the right side picture is the pneumonia which causes an accumulation of fluid in the alveoli. Now the lungs. There are two lungs, one lying on each side. The length of the lung is 20 till 24 centimeter. Color is pinkish. Lobes, three lobes in the right lung and two lobes in the left lung. Lobes are separated by the fissures. The area between the lungs is the mediastinum. Pleura. The pleura consists of closed sac of serous membrane, one for each lung, which contains a small amount of serous fluid. The lung is invaginated or pushed into this sac. It forms two layers, and the pleural cavity is a two-layer of pleura are separated by thin film or serous fluid, which allows them to guide over each other and preventing friction between them during breathing, and the serous fluid is secreted by the epithelial cells of the function. The functions of the lung is in control of air entry, warming, humidifying, cough reflexes. The right lung has more lobes and segments than the left. It is divided into three lobes, that is superior lobe, middle lobe, and an inferior lobe. They separate by two fissures, one oblique fissure which separates middle and lower lobe, and one horizontal fissure which separates middle and upper lobe. The left lung is divided into two lobes, that is upper lobe and lower lobe, like superior lobe or inferior lobe. They separate by the oblique fissure. Left lung does not have a middle lobe. The mediastinal surface of the left lung has a large cardiac impression or cardiac notch where the heart sits.